Hey, you missed a spot, Wyatt.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my review for the classic Battlefield game, Bad Company 2. The reason why I'm reviewing this game is because I plan on reviewing every single Battlefield game, but only the ones on Steam, so I'm starting off with good old Bad Company 2.
Die already, you son of a bitch!
Now, it's no secret that this game is over a decade old, so I'll go over obvious things like what's outdated and what still holds up, because I want this video to be more brief, and I'll mostly discuss if this game is still even worth it and possible issues you might run into. I'll get into some of those issues later, but for now, I want to start with the campaign and some history and nostalgia surrounding it. So Bad Company 2 came out in 2010. A very nostalgic time for me, and I mostly remember playing the campaign, so I kind of look back at it kind of like a classic. When you first play an older game, the first thing you can notice is the controls and the visuals. One thing I always loved about Bad Company 2 was the badass presentation. It kind of has Modern Warfare 2 vibes with all the explosions and cutscenes and just feeling so epic. But this game did come out during the modern military era of gaming, so I guess it does have a few things holding it back. I don't know if this has to do with that, but like I mentioned a second ago with the controls, yeah, I wish they were a little better. The game feels pretty arcadey, which isn't entirely a bad thing. Like, the guns feel fast and responsive, but it's little things, like you can't look left and right while sprinting, or that you just can't crouch, but the game is definitely still enjoyable. That is if you can get past this next big possible issue, and that is you can't change the FOV. Yeah, I hope it hasn't been bothering you so far. I think you can change it for the multiplayer, but we'll talk about the multiplayer later. I think you can also open up the game and do a little bit of surgery to change the FOV for the campaign, but it's only like 6 or 7 hours long, and I just wanted to review the game without doing anything extra like that. I'm also just lazy. So if you're watching the video and can't handle like a 50 or 60 FOV, that might be a deal breaker, but for those of us just casually playing and don't really care, this campaign still holds up and is very fun. There's lots of little things to look forward to, like the characters. You play with these group of soldiers, and these guys actually add a lot of humor and make the game have more personality and more memorable.
Okay, boys, you just lay down some fire on those targets over there.
All right, Marlowe, Haggard, get on those miniguns and start firing.
Ain't you gonna help us, Flint? What, me? No way, man. I'm a pacifist.
What? Pacifist? How can you be a goddamn pacifist?
Yeah, it's bad for my karma, man. Don't mess with karma. I just fly.
Hags, let it go. Fuck that! That'll fly with me, Space Muffin! I'm gonna argue to the goddamn Magic Kingdom!
Love you, man.
You silly goddamn muffin-headed fucking liberal!
These guys make it feel like you're playing with the boys. I just appreciate how they communicate and the fun tone it adds to the game. I heard they were better in Bad Company 1, but I never played that game and it's not on Steam, so oh well. Another big thing you get to look forward to is the destruction. As far as I remember and from what I've heard, Bad Company 2 is pretty revolutionary for having this really cool and responsive destruction. I think this might be the most destructible Battlefield game, and the lack of destruction is something older fans might not like in the newer Battlefield games. I can see why, because blowing shit up is fun as hell, especially since you can pick up your gun from these crates, which is very nice, and I always pick the assault rifle with the grenade launcher and a rocket launcher. Yeah, I like blowing stuff up, okay? Like, let's say an enemy is camping behind cover. You can most likely just blow it up. Or you know how the campaign is very linear, right? Well, it's very linear, and sometimes an enemy can be camping or waiting for you, and it makes the game feel less linear when you can just blow up most buildings or find new explosive ways to take out enemies. Now, I guess the most annoying thing was the old checkpoint system. I give this game some slack because it's pretty old, but man, it can still be frustrating as fuck. Like, I just hate having to replay 10 or 20 minutes of gameplay, especially when it feels like I should have gotten a checkpoint already. But overall, the campaign is still pretty fun and I think it's worth playing. The presentation is very cool and reminiscent of its time. I don't think the graphics look too good or bad, good enough for a cool presentation. I also thought the level variety was pretty good too. There's like 13 levels in a span of 6 hours, so it doesn't take too long to get to the next level and it keeps you interested. I even enjoyed the vehicle missions, even though they were the most linear, except for that one desert level. It was the most open and one of the most unique levels with how you can approach it. The guns also felt strong, loud, and satisfying, and oh man, that muzzle flash. Luckily, the enemies weren't too annoying because I did play on the hardest difficulty, which is hard, so I'm sure most of you know how a hit-scan single-player game can be on the highest difficulty. You'll have to hide behind cover a lot. But I think hard is the better and more intense way to experience the game. The story isn't anything too special from what I remember and from what I've heard, but the characters and fun levels is what kept me interested. I'm also just not much of a story kind of guy.
Sometimes people are just people, man.
But in the end, I think the fun factor is pretty high, and if you're someone like me, then the nostalgia factor is pretty high too. I'm also someone who sees the value in a campaign because they're timeless content where you can reliably have a good time, so yes, I would still recommend playing the Bad Company 2 campaign in this day and age. Well, I really hope you like the campaign because when it comes to the multiplayer, that's when some of those issues I was talking about earlier come into play. And that's because I can't play the multiplayer. Yeah, I wish I was trolling, and I'm sorry if I tricked you into watching this far into the video if you were anticipating the multiplayer, but hey, it's not my fault. I looked up the issue and I wasn't the only one having problems, okay? This is when this game being old is a big problem. And this is also EA's fault, cause when isn't it EA's fault? You see, you have to enter this key to play online, and I used to play this game in the multiplayer a few years ago, but now I just don't see that key anymore.
No, we're gone!
I put in a decent amount of effort trying to figure it out, but I mostly want these reviews to be the original game without doing too much. That's why I didn't edit the FOV, but that's the biggest possible disappointment of playing this game on Steam nowadays. You just might not be able to get that key to play the multiplayer, and it's a damn shame. If you never bought this game before and you want to, I recommend writing down that key when they first give it to you in case you want to play this game again in the future. But some of you should expect the multiplayer to just not work and that you're mostly getting this game for the campaign nowadays. Like, I'm sure this barrier is part of the reason why Bad Company 2 is the most dead Battlefield on Steam. That's probably why there's an average of 100 players, but I don't think it's all bad. You can still get this game for a few bucks or less on sale, and even without the multiplayer, I think the campaign is worth it. It's a shame EA had to do things their way. Like, I'm sure this game is doing just fine on Origins, but at least they eventually added all the current Battlefield games to Steam. I do plan on playing and reviewing all of those games. I wish I could have done all this with Call of Duty, but Activision is worse. But I'm still happy being able to start all of these reviews with my most nostalgic Battlefield game, Bad Company 2. Anyway, I think that's about everything I wanted to say. I wanted to keep things simple, so I might have forgotten little things like the game crashing on me once, but still saving my checkpoint, or that I think you could just get the Vietnam DLC for free, or that we'll probably have to wait another decade for Bad Company 3. But until then, I'll just move forward with the Battlefield franchise. I really wish I could have done this with Call of Duty, but Activision sucks and all of the old Call of Duties are overpriced. At least EA eventually put their games on Steam and you can get all of these Battlefields for less than $10 each. So maybe one day I'll review the Call of Duty franchise, but for now, I'm excited to play Battlefield 3. I don't have much experience with that one, and it'll be my first full review for a Battlefield game because I looked at 2042, but it was only a beta, and this review is obviously missing the multiplayer, so be on the lookout for that full modern review of Battlefield 3. But yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry if you're disappointed by the lack of multiplayer. I really did what I can and I do feel bad, but leave a like if you appreciate me even checking out this classic. I figure it's better than nothing, right? Drop a comment telling me what you think of this game or what your favorite Battlefield game is. I'd like to get some discussions going, especially if I forgot something. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay up to date with my Battlefield content, but also be open to discovering other games. I play a lot of games, and thank you guys for watching the entire video. You're the small percentage of viewers that I appreciate the most. Check on the screen for some of my other reviews, and if you're too cheap to buy the new Battlefield like me, then that's what these old Battlefield reviews are for. Peace.